Do you think I have come to establish peace on earth? No, but rather division. Brothers and sisters, these readings today and this gospel make me think of going to the dentist. And let me explain why. I know someone who postponed going to the dentist for years, probably for 5 years. This person never went to the dentist. And he was taking pretty good care of his teeth. You know, he was brushing them, he was flossing, doing all the things you're supposed to do, except going to the dentist. And this person, well, I'll level with you. This was me, actually. He had a lot of excuses. I had a lot of excuses. It's inconvenient. My insurance recently changed. I need to find a new dentist. I don't really have time for that. Plus, I don't like it. I don't like going to the dentist. And I think I'm okay. My teeth feel fine. Sometimes one hurts a little bit, but it stopped hurting. So I think I'm going to be okay. Well, when I finally got my act together and went to the dentist, I had cavities. I had a number of cavities. And then I found myself sitting in a chair all numbed up with somebody drilling into my teeth, trying to say a rosary in my head, trying to disassociate, and the hygienist was telling me about her trip to Rome. And it hurt. It was painful. But it was worth it, and it was necessary. Right? I didn't go to the dentist to get hurt. I didn't go to the dentist because it was difficult. I went to the dentist because I wanted to be healthy, and I had to go through those things to be healthy. Saint Cyril of Alexandria, reading today's gospel, says, "What are you saying, Lord? You who said, 'My peace I leave you, my peace I give you,' now you say, 'Do you think I have come to establish peace on earth?' No, but rather division." What's going on? I think sometimes we can have a certain false sense of peace. I was at peace before I went to the dentist. Things were great. And I experienced division. I experienced struggle when I finally made the visit that was so necessary. How often in the spiritual life do we kind of spin our wheels and think we're okay? Just kind of go about our day thinking, you know what? Eventually I plan to start praying more. Eventually I plan to start reading the Bible. I should probably go to confession sometime soon. Maybe think about making it every Sunday rather than 3 or 4 Sundays a month. But we have our excuses. We rationalize, right? We say, well, it's difficult. It's going to be awkward when I finally do go to confession and I have to say it's been 3 years. That's going to be uncomfortable. And I think I'm okay. I'm a good person. I do my best. It's very easy for us to develop bad habits, spiritual cavities, if you will, without realizing it. And then when we start to make an effort, when we start to try to get back on the horse, we experience a lot of resistance, a lot of interior resistance. It's very unpleasant. We start reading the Bible and man, is it boring. We start trying to pray and we just can't focus and we want to go do something else. We start trying to put down the cell phone and we get withdrawal, like immediately. We experience division, a lack of peace. And I want to present to you that that's okay. In fact, it's going to be necessary for us to go through that. And Jesus is not excited about the division, right? He says he came to establish division on earth, but it wasn't for division's sake, right? It was for our sake. It was for the sake of our salvation. This division in families, we kind of go through all these different household relations, 2 against 2, 3 against 2, 2 against 3, a father against his son, and so on. Jesus didn't come to do that. But that's what happens. Because not everybody accepts Christ. Not everybody accepts Christ at the same rate. Not everybody's in the same spot. And that's not a good thing in itself, but it's necessary. It's a little bit like going to the dentist. Our faith is about so much more than dental hygiene. It's about so much more than health. It's about so much more than even earthly friendships. It's about going to heaven. It's about going to heaven to see God face to face. So the temptation when we hear these things, when we hear that we got to go to the dentist, when we hear that we've got to get back on the horse, we've got to start doing the difficult thing, the temptation is to start to think that that's what our faith is. Our faith is just a bunch of chores. Our faith is just a bunch of things we have to do that are unpleasant so that we can go to heaven one day. But it's so much more than that. So much more than that. Because as we grow in these practices, as we grow in virtue, as we do the hard things, they're actually going to get easier. They're going to get easier. And God wants a relationship with you and me, and He already loves us infinitely, with an infinite love. I don't know if you were paying attention to our collect this morning. That's really the first prayer I said, the one right before we all sat down and started hearing the readings. But that collect is all about the goal of our lives. It's all about heaven. We asked God, fill our hearts with the warmth of your love, right? That fire that you want to set the world on fire with. Fill our hearts with that love so that we may attain your promises which surpass every human desire. They surpass every human desire. Even our desire for heaven doesn't really circumscribe heaven. We can't wrap our minds around God. It's something so wonderful, so beyond us, that we really can't imagine what it's going to be like. And that is worth it. That is worth persevering. Because today's readings are not just about boo-hoo, life is difficult, we got to get through it, we got to do the difficult thing. These readings are really supposed to encourage us. And so I'd like to close by focusing on the second reading, the letter to the Hebrews. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. The cloud of witnesses. Those are the saints. Those are the saints. And they're with us at every Mass, adoring God, praying for you and me, supporting us. So we've got a bunch of saints on our side who've already done this. They have already gone through what you are going through, and they persevered. They followed Christ. Therefore, let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us, and persevere in running the race that lies before us. Perseverance. You can do it. You can do it. I wish someone had told me that when I was avoiding the dentist. You can do it. Go to the dentist. But it's so important, so important that we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. Because Jesus is the goal. Jesus is the goal. So we have all these saints supporting us. Jesus has the goal, and guess what? He is on our side too. He's an example for us, but he's also fighting for us. And he's already fought for us, and guess what? He already won. For the sake of the joy that lay before him. You know, Jesus, to get technical, Jesus had the beatific vision on earth. So he already had a direct image of God because he is God, right? So he didn't need to try to get to heaven because being in heaven is being with him. So Jesus himself didn't lack joy, even in his sufferings. So when it says, for the sake of the joy that lay before him, it's talking about the joy of union with you and me. the joy of allowing us to delight in him in heaven. So for the sake of you and me going to heaven, Jesus endured the cross, despising its shame. He did the difficult thing for you and me, giving us an example. So I'll just close with the words of this great letter. Advice to you, advice to me. Consider how Jesus endured such opposition from sinners in order that you might not grow weary nor lose heart in your struggle against sin. You have not yet resisted to the point of shedding blood.